Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining this week's Fridays with Narelle. I'm actually doing a session on the toxic six, which is by no means a complete list. It is a very short list, but it's a really good list to become familiar with because these toxic six products are pretty much ubiquitous in the cosmetic industry and in the cleaning household industry, and even organic products, even non-certified organic products that are claiming to be organic, contain these ingredients as well. So what I'm going to do is get started with the presentation. I'll be going into full screen and I won't be able to answer any of your questions until the end of the session because I can't see anything once I go into full screen. Okay, let's get started and I'll see you at the end. Okay, so why do we want to know this stuff? Why should we be aware of these toxic six ingredients? Firstly, which was my inspirational moment 25 years ago, because I was fooled. I was fooled by greenwashing and slick marketing and discovered that the cosmetic industry is not what it claims to be. Even way back then, it still isn't today. So why be an informed consumer? So you don't get fooled by greenwashing and slick marketing, which is even more slick these days. Most importantly, to protect your family from toxic chemicals disguised as natural ingredients and disguised under trade names and copyrighted names. So I'm going to share with you a few ingredients today, and I'm going to show how you can spot them, teach you how you can spot them on the label, and which is basically you becoming informed. This is what it's about. This is what I'm about, is teaching you how to read labels so you don't get fooled like I was. And the end result is that we get to actually create the change we want in the world. Okay, so we can choose to withdraw our approval, withdraw our consent, withdraw our purchasing power from the companies and brands that continue to mislead and deceive and use toxic chemicals in their products disguised as natural ingredients. And there's plenty of them around. And by the end of this presentation, you'll be well on your way to being an ingredient sleuth, like I have been for the last 25 years. And the result of which is actually creating a better world, creating products and inspiring manufacturers to create products that do not contain these ingredients and focus on truly natural, certified organic ingredients, which are much better for the environment and much better for us. Okay, so this is what we're about, creating a better world through consumer power. We're going to buy things, we may as well buy things that actually serve us and serve the environment. As the wonderful Margaret Mead said, never doubt that a small group of committed people can change the world. In fact, it's the only thing that ever has. Very, very true. Okay, so what are the lurking dangers in the cosmetic industry? So this is an interesting quote from the director of the FDA, Office of Cosmetics and Colors, in 1998. So this issue around safety in cosmetics has been around for a long, long time. So he stated, consumers believe that if it's on the market, it can't hurt me, right? And this belief is sometimes wrong. So this is coming from the head honcho of the FDA's Office of Cosmetics and Colors. He knew back then that just because it's on the market does not mean it's safe. So this is even more reason why you need to become aware so you can protect your family. So there's three main issues regarding the cosmetic industry. Number one, there are known and probable human carcinogens. That means they cause cancer in humans in cosmetics. And 1/3 of all products on the market contain one or more ingredients classified as possible human carcinogens. There are impurities of concern in personal care products. Nearly 70% of all products on the market contain ingredients that can be contaminated with impurities linked to cancer and other health problems. And we're going to be going through the top 6 of these today. And lastly, unassessed ingredients. So this means that most of the ingredients that are used today in the cosmetic industry have never been tested for safety by the Cosmetic Ingredient Review Panel, by the FDA, by NICNAS, or any other publicly accountable institution. So this is a major safety loophole. This is a major gap in the safety of our cosmetic products, is that they are not required to be tested for safety before they go on the market. So one of the top 6, parabens. Okay, so most of us are familiar with parabens and that we should be avoiding them. But why? Do we know why? They are endocrine disruptors that influence the hormonal system. They can affect fetal development. So if you're applying products while you're pregnant, it can adversely affect your fetus. And they are suspected to influence breast cancer development. So what this is about is, in 2004, a university study found parabens in 18 out of 20 breast cancer tumors. So what they didn't say, what they could not conclude was that parabens caused breast cancer, but they just noted that it was very interesting that 18 out of 20 breast cancer tumors actually contained parabens. And parabens are used as preservatives, as antifungals in antiperspirants, in all sorts of products. I mean, to list the products that parabens are used in, it would be, it's huge. From pharmaceutical products to personal care, shampoos, deodorants, toothpastes, plenty of products on the market still contain paraben preservatives. So how do you look for them? How do you spot them on a label? You look for the word paraben with either the prefixes methyl, propyl, butyl, ethyl. But paraben, because people are becoming more aware of the word, the chemical name for paraben is actually hydroxybenzoate. So some manufacturers are sneaking in methyl hydroxybenzoate or propyl hydroxybenzoate. I am only assuming that this is a cynical move on the part of manufacturers, because most people are aware these days to avoid parabens, but maybe not so much hydroxybenzoates. So you now know hydroxybenzoates is synonym for paraben. Another interesting one is which many natural and organic brands are turning to these days because it sounds nice, it sounds beautiful, Japanese honeysuckle flower extract, or they also list it by its botanical name or its inky name, Lonicera japonica. This is a natural extract, a Japanese honeysuckle extract, but it still contains parabens. Okay, parabens, whether they come synthetically or naturally, are still endocrine disruptors. Okay, so be aware for Japanese honeysuckle flower extract in quite a few natural brands these days. Second on the list, fragrance phthalates. So basically phthalates are found in fragrances, and phthalates are a fragrance ingredient. So the word fragrance, basically if there's a word fragrance on the label, you can pretty much, with very high clarity, with very high probability, know that phthalates are going to be in that ingredient. So fragrance on the label can indicate the presence of up to 4,000 separate ingredients, including phthalates, many of them toxic or carcinogenic. So high level exposure to fragrance causes irritation of the eyes, nose, and throat, nausea, vomiting, dizziness, and headache. Phthalates are endocrine disruptors that can harm the developing fetus and the male testes, and long-term exposure to phthalates causes liver and kidney damage. So clinical observation shows that fragrances affect the central nervous system, causing depression, hyperactivity, and irritability. So not a good thing. Many products on the market, again, pretty much ubiquitous. Most, even natural and organic brands, contain the term fragrance. Now you can, there are some, so it really depends on the trust and the safety that you have in the brand. So there are ingredients that are proprietary blends of essential oils that come under the phrase fragrance. So if you see the term fragrance on a label, always, and you think that everything else on the brand is okay, or about the brand is okay, confirm that there are no, you want a statement that there are no phthalates, there are no allergens, there are no fragrance allergens, there are no synthetic chemicals, that this is a natural fragrance. So it's kind of a, it's really a, it's a blanket statement. So it can mean it is naturally derived and it is a proprietary blend of mixed essential oils. That is totally okay. You can use, like I use in a couple of our products, an ingredient called fragrance, because it is a proprietary blend of essential oils. And it doesn't contain phthalates. It's totally naturally derived. It is a blend of certain specific essential oils that are commercial in confidence to the supplier, because it performs a function. It performs an antifungal preservative function, and they don't want to give away their secrets, but they have provided a statement to say absolutely naturally derived, contains no phthalates, no fragrance allergens. So basically, if you see the word fragrance, it doesn't necessarily mean bad, but 99.9% of the time it probably does. It does mean it's bad, but that you do need to get clarification from the company or from the brand that that fragrance is actually just a blend of essential oils. And if they're putting that in writing, then you can trust that. I would hope so. So what you look for is the word fragrance on the label, or you look for the actual listing, dibutyl phthalate, diethyl phthalate. So this is, I've kind of put two ingredients together in this little presentation, in this page, because they are basically synonyms for the vast majority of the cases in the marketplace today. But there are, as I said, small sections of the market that do have integrity. Okay, next we want to look at the formaldehyde donating preservatives. So this is not just one ingredient. This is a whole stack of ingredients, a class of ingredients that are formaldehyde donating preservatives. And I've listed the majority of the ingredients that you need to look for on a label. So the issue with formaldehyde is that it is a carcinogen. It causes skin reactions. So basically these preservatives, they don't list formaldehyde on the label. You won't see the name formaldehyde on the label. It's the preservatives themselves, it's their mode of action. How they work is that they release formaldehyde into the formula that kills off the bacteria. So the issue with formaldehyde, you don't want any amount of formaldehyde in your products or on your skin, because it's a carcinogen. It causes skin reactions. Inhaling it causes ear infections, headaches, depression, asthma, joint pain, dizziness, mental confusion, nausea, fatigue, disorientation, phlebitis, vomiting, sleep disturbances, and laryngitis. So it's not a friendly chemical. It's certainly not something that you want to be applying on your skin and inhaling in your shower on a regular basis. So I've put together the ingredients that are formaldehyde donating preservatives, which are on this list today: sodium hydroxymethylglycinate, otherwise known as Suticide. Suticide is the trade name for that ingredient. So this is what happens when manufacturers start to become aware that people are looking at their ingredient list. They don't list the INCI name, which is INCI stands for International Nomenclature of Cosmetic Ingredients, which is the internationally accepted terminology for cosmetic ingredients. So instead of listing, for example, sodium hydroxymethylglycinate, they list the trade name called Suticide, because you can buy that ingredient from Sutton Laboratories, and their trade name is how they list it on their sales list, on their sales sheet. It's called Suticide. So, and that is technically legal. You can do that on labels. You can list ingredients by their trade name as long as you put a little TM by next to it. But it certainly doesn't, and as you can see, it sounds a lot more, helpful. It sounds kind of natural. It doesn't sound scary, Suticide, does it? As opposed to the multi-syllabic long name that is very easy to look up on the internet. Another one, imidazolidinyl urea, otherwise known as Germol 115, diazolidinyl urea, Germol 11, quaternium 15, 2-bromo-2-nitropropane 1,3-diol, otherwise known as Bronopol, and DMDM hydantoin, otherwise known, or the trade name of which is Glidant, or one of the trade names is Glidant. So you can see it can be a little bit tricky when you're reading labels. You do need to, I highly recommend having a little copy in your wallet of our toxic ingredient wallet card that we've put together. So when you are shopping, you can pull it out and go through. It's a nice succinct list. It's not going to give you you won't get everything in a little wallet card, but it's certainly a helpful little key. The other thing you can do is to download Bill Statham's The Chemical Maze. This can be done at a cost. I'm not sure what it costs these days. It's probably under $10. It's an app. And Bill and I have been working together for nearly 25 years. When he first developed first it was a book, and then he developed it into an app. So it's called The Chemical Maze. And yeah, I helped him get all the information, because he initially started out with food additives and then branched out into the cosmetic ingredients. So I was able to give him a hand when he was first developing that back in the day. So yeah, that's very comprehensive, the Chemical Maze. It's an app on your phone, and there's a few others, quite a few others these days, but I can put them as a list together and post them on the rep forum for you. Okay, triclosan. This stuff is super toxic. It is linked to liver and inhalation toxicity. Low levels disrupt thyroid function. It encourages bacterial resistance to antibiotics. The American Medical Association recommend it not be used in the home. And I can tell you there are dozens, hundreds of products that are used today in homes across the world containing triclosan. And the scary thing is that, and because of course we're using these products and washing them down the drain, wastewater treatment does not remove triclosan, which means it ends up in our lakes, our rivers, our waterways, where it forms dioxins. So when triclosan reacts with sunlight in open water sources, it forms dioxins. And dioxins are super toxic, nasty, carcinogenic compounds. They are extremely toxic, dioxins. So basically what you need to look out for is anything antibacterial. Anything that has the claim antibacterial is most likely going to contain triclosan. And again, there's a whole bunch of trade names cloaking as triclosan. I've listed those here. There's more, but basically anything antibacterial. So just, Physohex, anything antibacterial, face wash, Clearasil, Colgate Total. You can get, garbage bag liners. You can get antibacterial socks. This stuff is ubiquitous in the household if you're not careful. But yeah, basically anything antibacterial hand washes usually contain triclosan, and this stuff is super toxic. Not good to have on our skin, and not good to wash down the drain because it forms really, really dangerous compounds in our waterways, which then have ongoing effects for our wildlife. So these are the trade names that triclosan is also listed as: Microban, BioFresh, Cliniclean, Ergosan, Microshield T, Sturzac, Tersaseptic, Trisan. So definitely look out for, all of the ingredients that I'm talking about today you want to avoid, right? But yeah, this one's particularly nasty. Okay, then we have, remember the very first slide, contaminated products. So again, these are not ingredients that you can necessarily look for. These are ingredients that are contaminated with toxins. So dioxane and ethylene oxide contamination is a massive issue, which was, I think it was 70% of the cosmetic products on the market today contain ingredients that are contaminated with these dioxane and ethylene oxide. So dioxane is a chemical that causes cancer under Proposition 65 in California. It's also suspected as a kidney toxicant, a neurotoxicant, which means it damages your brain, a respiratory toxicant, among others, according to the California EPA. So basically, I'm just going to talk briefly about the Organic Consumers Association study back 10 years ago. And there were a whole bunch that basically they went to Whole Foods and pulled all of the products off the shelf that were claiming, Whole Foods, right? Whole Foods is natural and organic. They pulled everything off the shelf that were claiming to be natural and organic, which is everything, and they had them tested for dioxane and ethylene oxide. And they found that every single product on the shelf at Whole Foods was contaminated with these toxic chemicals. Except, guess. Have a guess. If you're guessing certified organic products, you would be right. So except the certified organic products, which are products that contain, that have a third-party independent logo indicating third-party certification of an organic claim. So this is the issue. This is the issue with the marketplace today. Everyone's claiming to be organic, everyone's claiming to be natural, but very, very few companies are actually certified. Some companies actually make up a logo that looks kind of official, but it's not actually an independent third-party certification of an organic claim. You can tell which ones is, you can look for the logo. It's going to say which entity certified that product. So if you're in America, it's going to be USDA. If you're in Australia, it's going to be one of the bodies in Australia. Most likely ACO. ACO has 3/4 of the market in Australia. So ACO is our biggest certifier in Australia. So basically, the lesson of this study done by the Organic Consumers Association is you can't trust natural and organic claims. They're still using toxic chemicals because they can and they're cheap. And you basically can't trust any claim that has not been third-party verified. And the only third-party verification, true third-party verification for safety and non-toxicity of cosmetic ingredients is the certified organic claim. So getting back to dioxane, the 1,4-dioxane and ethylene oxide, since they are impurities, you don't see them on the label. They are not listed on the label. So how you find them is that basically the ethylene oxide is used in the manufacturing process of, like, I'm not going to list all of the chemicals that can be contaminated because there's literally hundreds of them. So what I've tried to do is just give you a rule of thumb that helps you spot which ingredients they are. And it's pretty simple. Basically, because ethylene oxide is used in the manufacturing process, this is a toxic carcinogenic ingredient. Ethylene oxide is used with coconut, with the natural ingredients. Ethylene oxide is used to manufacture surfactant type products or emulsifier type products, and the process of using ethylene oxide creates a byproduct of dioxane, which is this toxic carcinogenic chemical. So basically, the chemicals that we're looking for are the classification of them is actually termed ethoxylated chemicals. So anything that uses ethylene oxide is in the manufacturing process is termed an ethoxylated compound. Okay, so what you need to look for is anything with ETH in the name. For example, sodium laureth sulfate. See that laureth? That's an ETH. So that means sodium laureth sulfate is an ethoxylated chemical. It's an ethoxylated surfactant. So, but you don't just look for laureth, you look for anything with ETH. So for example, there's another class called PEGs, or polyethylene glycols. So you'll see it listed as either PEG, polyethylene glycol. So you'll see things like PEG 40 almond glycerides. Okay, so that PEG stands for polyethylene glycol. And you'll know that PEG, polyethylene, there is ETH in that polyethylene. Ethylene means it's been ethoxylated, which means it's been created with ethylene oxide, which means it is contaminated with dioxane. Okay, so anything with ETH, beware. All right, so that's the simple rule of thumb for avoiding toxic carcinogenic dioxane. All right, nitrosamines. Now, nitrosamines are particularly nasty. Okay, so nitrosamines, and again, that you won't see them on the label. They won't be listed as nitrosamine on the label. They are contaminants in cosmetic ingredients. Okay, so nitrosamines have been identified as one of the most potent classes of carcinogens, having caused cancer in more than 40 different animal species, as well as in humans. NDELA, which is nitrosodiethylenamine, is the specific nitrosamine, and I've got in quotes, to which human exposure is the greatest, since it occurs in cosmetics and is absorbed readily through the skin. And this has been known by the National Cancer Institute in their magazine Carcinogenesis, or in their study Carcinogenesis, since 1985. Okay, so these issues have been around for a long time, and I can tell you not much has changed. 2001, So DEA, which is the primary cause of nitrosamine contamination, was banned in Europe. So DEA, the use of DEA, which stands for diethanolamine, has been banned since 2001 in Europe. But guarantee you walk down any aisle in a supermarket and look at their shampoos and skin creams, you will see diethanolamine or DEA, oleamide DEA, or something with DEA in it these days, both in Australia and America. 100%, it's still allowed in those countries. So, and we go back even further, back to 1979. So the FDA commissioner back in 1979 told the cosmetic industry that it must take immediate measures to eliminate, to the extent possible, this nitrosamine and other nitrosamines from cosmetic products. But the FDA doesn't have jurisdiction over the cosmetic industry. The cosmetic industry is basically self-regulated, okay? So the CIR, the Cosmetic Ingredient Review Panel, is made up of people from the cosmetic industry, okay? It's basically, it's like putting the fox in charge of the hen house. I think it was something ridiculous. In 15 years, they banned 11 products. And literally, there are tens of thousands of ingredients used in the cosmetic industry. It's really a joke. So let me just explain is how nitrosamines are formed. Is that you combine amines, which are these ingredients: MEA, DEA, TEA. So MEA stands for monoethanolamine, DEA stands for diethanolamine, and TEA stands for triethanolamine. Okay, so these amines combine with nitrosating agents, and there are lots of nitrosating agents. There are chemicals. So basically, it was too long a list, the nitrosating agents to avoid. So a shorter list is the amines, because basically you can pretty much guarantee, for example, sodium lauryl sulfate is a nitrosating agent. Okay, so the combination of amines and nitrosating agents forms these nitrosamines. Okay, so that's what's happening in the shampoo as it's sitting on your shelf in the bathroom. You've got nitrosating agents and you've got amines in the formula, and they are combining while it's sitting on your shelf to form nitrosamines. And studies have shown that the longer it sits, the more nitrosamines are formed, because it's basically like a chemical soup in your shampoo. Okay, so one way to totally avoid nitrosamine contamination, which are absolutely one of the most potent classes of carcinogens causing cancer in every animal species studied, including humans, is to avoid the use of amines, or avoid products that contain amines. And I've got on the bottom of the screen MEA, DEA, TEA, so it can either be listed as the acronym or the long name. And then, for example, cocamide MEA, cocamide DEA, DEA cetyl phosphate, DEA olefin-3 phosphate. Okay, so there's basically, you're looking for the abbreviation or the actual name itself, the diethanolamine, triethanolamine. Okay, so that's the little handy hint to avoid toxic carcinogens in your shampoo. So this is basically why I developed certified organic products. I discovered this information about the cosmetic industry 25 years ago, and it has been my mission for the last 25 years to, number one, educate people as to the crap that is going on in the cosmetic industry and still is today, and two, to be a beacon of integrity amongst the plethora of fake natural and organic products that are still in the marketplace today, And by using certified organic ingredients, we're supporting farmers and companies in the ethical and sustainable use of the Earth's resources. And of course, certified organic ingredients, ingredients that are literally edible, food grade ingredients, because certified organic products are all plant-based and generally grown for food use. So creating certified organic products means that you have access to truly safe and effective products. And that is my mission. That is my joy in life, doing this, and has been for the last 25 years when I discovered this about the cosmetic industry. So I will close down, stop the share. How I do that? Can you still see me? Hello. All right, I'm back. So do we have any questions? I can see the chat now. And if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to clarify. All right, I'm back. Hello. I think I just got booted off, but I'm back. Silver, no problems at all. Silver is a great antibacterial. I think it's wonderful. It's when I was looking at it 15 years ago, it wasn't allowed in the cosmetic industry. So it wasn't allowed for organics. Okay, so 15 years ago, it wasn't allowed in organic foods, and that's how I was certifying our products under organic food regulations. So I would have liked to have used it 15 years ago, but it was prohibited, and I haven't actually looked at it since then. In terms of the development of the organic industry and the creation of cosmetic standards. Possibly it may be something that could be allowed these days, but it hasn't been something that I've looked at recently. But yeah, totally cool with it in terms of toxicity and safety. Thanks, Dadsay. Yeah, well, that's the issue, Jim. That is the issue with with the cosmetic industry or with any industry, is that they very, very rarely test the combination of chemicals together. So they know, I don't know how they knew about nitrosamines and nitrosating agents and nitrosamines forming nitrosating agents and amines forming nitrosamines. But yeah, it's certainly not done common. It's not commonplace, and this is what the issue is that where any one product can contain dozens of different chemicals, and we really don't know what the long-term effects of the combinations of this chemical soup is, which is why I try to err on the side of caution, the precautionary principle. We use the chemicals that we use, or the green chemicals that we use one. Okay, so we use one green chemical in which is the cocoa polyglucose or the cocoa glucoside in our body wash and shampoo, and we use one in our in the Shine in the hair conditioner, the ceteryl sorbitan olivate, which is an olive-derived emulsifier. So very, we're minimizing the numbers of chemicals that could potentially react with each other, because we actually just don't know. We don't know what the long-term ramifications of the combinations of chemicals in products are. Kathy Ann, share this webinar. Otherwise, learn it yourself, download the presentations and do presentations. What I've been doing since 1998, doing public talks, getting bums on seats, which is really, really hard to do, right? It's really difficult to get bums on seats. The best thing I'm thinking these days, I was actually thinking that this morning, what is the most powerful, simple way that I can support you in sharing this information? And I think it's going to be videos like this that you can just share with your prospects, with prospective customers. Otherwise, download my presentations, which I know that there's a few of you who do that. Specifically, I know Joe and Steve in Tasmania. They have monthly talks, and they've used my PowerPoints. They've added their own bits and pieces to it, and they have monthly educational seminars that they pack the room out. So it's really, it's either do it yourself using the information and all the PowerPoints that I've put together over the years, or share these videos. And if you've got any other ideas, I'm all ears. I'm happy to support you any way I can. If you think there's other ways I can help you, just let me know. Okay, just scrolling up. Phenoxyethanol. Yeah, phenoxyethanol is nasty. And yes, it is in a lot of products. It is a kidney toxicant. It's a liver toxicant. It is currently, I don't know whether it's still allowed in Cosmos. I'll have to check it out. But back in the day, like when they first came out, I know Soil Association in the UK and Cosmos were allowing phenoxyethanol, and I wouldn't touch it with a barge pole. It is toxic. So yes, it's not technically an ethoxy, or it may be. I haven't actually looked into whether it's an ethoxylated compound, but it is. I wouldn't use it, and it's toxic. And yes, it is in a lot of green, clean. It's meant to be, it's a paraben alternative, but it is still toxic. Thanks, Josephine. Early 20s, I started. Yeah. Short videos on my Essence Facebook. Okay. Yep, I can do that on some little topics, short videos. Okay, I'll have to think of some quick topics that I can do. If you want to start a little chat, say on the rep forum, I'd be happy to, if people want to come up with some topics. Otherwise, I can just try and figure it out and see what I can do in 1 to 4 minutes. Josephine, the PowerPoints should be in the my account in the back end. There should be a whole bunch there, and if not, let me know. Because I've done dozens and dozens over the years, and I will put this one. I'll send this one to Ali, and she can put it in the back end, the one that I've just done today, so you can utilize that. Yeah, well, I'm going live every Friday, Kathy Ann. I'm live every Friday, 11 o'clock Queensland time, unless I'm on holidays or unless I'm traveling. So, and I'll let you know if that's not the case. So Fridays with Narelle, 11 o'clock Queensland time every week. Toxic Tuesday. Yes, we can do that. That's cute. I like it. That's a good idea, Jim. Very good. All right. Any other questions before we sign off? I'll stop recording.